It is getting cold and dark out here, which means it must be time for the Christingle.
So if you haven't already done it, make sure you've got your Christingle making kit ready to go.
And as we're getting set up inside, we're going to sing our first carol together. O come all ye faithful. Okay, let's go.
O come all ye faithful.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
I don't think it is.
It's Christmas!
I know, exactly.
Well, what's wrong with Christmas?
What's right with it, you mean? I mean, what about a Christmas time? Just a time to be forgotten.
Forgotten? Everyone loves oranges.
Not at Christmas, my friend. At Christmas, we don't exist. It's all about clementines and satsumas and easy peelers. Forget the orange.
Yeah, they're so small, they're so sweet. But
I
I tell you what, this Christmas, it's all about you because we're about to do the Christingle.
Pringle?
No, Christingle, and you are centre stage.
Me?
Yeah, they need the orange for the Christingle.
Wow, well, what do I have to do?
Oh, it's fantastic. You're going to get poked with... Then you're going to be set on... Oh, don't worry about it. It'll be great.
Yay! Yippee! Oh, hang on a second. Are you sure you don't want to
Oh,
do
no,
it?
no. You go for it. You'll be great.
Oh, I can't wait. Let's get started.
This is John 1, verses 1 to 4. In the beginning, the Word already existed. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. From the very beginning, the Word was with God. Through Him, God made all things. Not one thing in all creation was made without Him. The Word was the source of life, and this life brought light to the people.
So we are ready for part 1 of the Making the Christingle. We took this bit because it's very complicated. The first thing we have to do is reach into the bag and get the orange. And for part 1 of Making your Christingle, this is all you need to do, is take your orange.
What we've done.
We're done. We are so overachievers.
Well done, everybody.
Well done there. Stage 1 of 4 complete. So why do you think it is an orange? What does an orange remind you of?
A piece of fruit.
It doesn't remind you of a piece of fruit.
It
It
is
is a piece of fruit. Think something else. Think about the shape.
Oh, a head, an eye,
Right.
a ball, a wheel,
A wheel. Maybe something we live on.
the world.
The world. The orange represents the world creation. That's what an orange in a Christingle represents. And we have a quiz for you here. We want to know how well do you know creation. So we're going to play a game of where in the world.
So, did you get all those different places? Where in the world would you want to go if you could clap your hands and be there? For me, it was something with the sea. So, the Great Barrier Reef, or the longest beach in the world, which was where?
Bangladesh.
Wow, imagine being there right now. And for me, the word that springs to mind for that is calm. There's something about the sea and calm. What about for you?
For me, I think it would probably be that massive canyon in Tibet that's actually bigger than the Grand Canyon. I don't know, there's something about the scale of it. I don't actually like heights, but just the awesomeness of that place, I think, appeals to me.
For you, if you could clap your hands and go somewhere, where would you go? Talk to the person next to you or ping it on the screen, and one word to describe that place for you. Off you go.
So the orange, we're thinking about creation, and you've just talked about all the places in creation, not all of them, but some of them. And we're told that all through the Bible it tells us that creation reflects the Creator. That when we look at different things, we can discover things about the God who created them. And you know what? The reading we heard today started with "in the beginning." Question for you: which other book in the Bible starts with "in the beginning"? Wonder if you guessed it. It's the book of Genesis, isn't it? Right there. It starts with those amazing words. This is the Storyteller Bible that some of you have been working through Advent. It starts with, "In the beginning there was nothing but God hovering, expectant, ready to create." And then he speaks into nothing, and life is created. And we're told there that he created light, he created the world, the things in it, and he created people. He created them and formed them and breathed his love, his life into them. And Genesis is all about that start of that relationship that Jesus calls us into. And then it goes on to tell us how that amazing creation, but then a lie was spoken. If you remember in the Storyteller Bible, it calls it the most terrible lie, if you've been reading that, guys. It says a lie was spoken. Did God really love you? Does God really love you? If he did, well, why wouldn't he want you to eat that apple? Does God really love you? And the doubt in who God was and that relationship of trust and love was destroyed because they chose to turn away from God. They chose to believe a lie that put everything into darkness, created insecurity, created anger, hatred, lots of dark things coming out of that. That very first lie that was believed. Does God really love you? Well, if he does, why wouldn't he want you to eat the fruit on the tree? Why is he trying to hold you back? And they doubted God's love, and darkness came into the world. It's no coincidence then that John starts his gospel with "in the beginning," reminding people that right back in creation was Jesus. That Jesus was there, the Word, which is Jesus, was there in the beginning. And that Word didn't turn its back on us, didn't leave us when we messed up and we failed to believe and trust him, but came back to the earth. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God in the beginning. And John starting this gospel about Jesus' life by saying he was there before all time. He started in the beginning, wanting a relationship with us now, and I'm starting this gospel with "in the beginning," reminding you that same God still wants a relationship with you today, still loves you today, has not given up on you, is reaching out to you. In the beginning was the Word. And that's what we're thinking about today, and how that Word didn't leave us, but came back and wants to reach out and bring light and life into our lives today.
The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. He came as a witness to testify concerning that light, so that through him all might believe. He himself was not the light. He came only as a witness to the light. The true light that gives light to everyone was coming into the world.
Hi guys, so you want to grab your orange, and you may need an adult to help your children, but you got your knife, you cut a hole in the middle, and then pop that down and get your candle. What I would do here is then fold your foil in half. You may not want to be safe, but wrap it around the base of your candle, and then if you can, pop it in your hole. It's not going to work now, is it? You watch. Adjust your hole accordingly. You may need to just cut it at the sides a bit to make it a bit bigger. Let's try again. And there we go.
So, thank you very much, Flint, for those great directions. Hopefully this is ours. Hopefully it looks fairly like your ones. So that's where we're up to. And we looked at creation, Jesus being in there at the beginning of creation, and now we're looking at him coming back to his creation as the light of the world.
I love lights.
You do love lights.
I love lights, particularly this time of year. Everything is starting to shine out at Christmas, isn't it? All the houses lit up. Maybe there's houses down your street. Maybe some people down your street have really gone to town. Maybe it's you. Yeah, Christmas lights indoors, lights shining out, the lights of the fire. Soon lighting our candle, but not yet.
Not yet. And you see, if we don't have lights, if it was just that darkness there, then it doesn't bring that warmth, that feeling of hope, that feeling of safety. It's really hard. I've trekked across the garden. We've just put some lights in because the amount of times I walked into the gate not knowing where it was, because lights show us things so clearly. And when we haven't got proper light, it doesn't reveal things that we need to be able to see. In fact, I think we've got a challenge for that now.
Can you guess what these are? Hello and welcome to our next game, which is Guess the Silhouette. So Helen's going to hold up something. Give us a wave, Helen! We have to guess what she's holding up from the shadows on the screen. Okay, Helen, take it away.
Right, you ready for the first one?
Yeah. Okay, that looks like a hairbrush.
Okay, you are correct.
Can you see that at home? That looks like, just down a tiny bit, Helen. That's it. That looks like a cooking ladle.
Very good.
Okay, holding something in a hand. See that at home? It's nice and round. Is it an orange?
Yay!
Very Christingle. Okay, can you turn it around for us? Okay, that looks like about the right size for a packet of biscuits.
Yes.
Has to be a frying pan.
Not a frying pan.
Or rotate it round. Has to be a sieve.
Very good.
Has to be a bottle of washing up.
Not washing up, but it's very topical at the moment.
Anti-bac.
Yay! Okay, last one. Are you ready?
Yeah. Okay. Any guesses at home? My guess is it's a candle. I recognise that holder.
It is, because we're now thinking about light of the world.
Thank you. The Bible was full of people trying to work out what God was like, trying to understand God, and yet they saw shadows. They heard the prophets speak about God. They heard God's word, but they were trying to work out what it meant for them.
And it was so hard. I mean, even in the reading we just heard, it says that John was a witness to the light, but he wasn't the light. That the people just wanted to see clearly. And we're going to think about that a bit more now, but I think you need to go.
Oh, I do.
So, light makes things clear. It shows us what should be there. It also shows us what shouldn't be there. And light is that image of showing the way clearly, helping us to know what we should do, how we should act, where we should go. That's how it's used in the Bible. God's word being a light unto our feet. The image of that lighthouse as well that we sing about, showing, keeping us safe, showing us the right way to go. And Jesus came to do all of that, to show us what it means to be his creation, to live as his creation. He came to show us how we can live in the light of God's love, in the life of God's light.
So we are now walking over towards Matthew, who's going to show us an experiment about blazing a light. Now, as we're walking over, you'll see it's pitch black. I've got my head torch on. We're walking over. And you know what? As we do this, it reminds me of when we looked at the Gospel of Mark, just in the last teaching series. And we looked at how Jesus came as a light, revealing who God was, both in his power and in his love, blazing a pathway to God for us. And this next illustration now, I think, does that really well. So we're going to join Matthew. Hello, Matthew.
Hello.
So Matthew, what have we got going on here?
So
what
here
experiment?
Here we have a transformer that's going to run a current between the two nails in the wood.
So we've got two nails. This is a transformer here, and this is one of your worktop boards, your chopping boards that you're making. And those two nails there, you're going to pass a huge current. What transformer what does this do?
So it turns the 240 volts of the house into 2,000 volts.
2,000 volts between those two nails, and that's going to blaze and cut a path through that wood.
Yep.
Okay, do not try this at home. Do not try this at home. We've got several safety things in place. We've watched YouTube videos on it. This is not to be done at home. Okay, Matthew, take it away. I'm going to turn my head torch off. Okay, so we can see what's happening. So if you now are ready, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. So let's have a look. So you can see that it has blazed a path between the two. So now we're back in the light. You can see what we've made, and you can see that the flames have cut through different paths in the wood. What Matthew's going to do with this now is that he's going to sand this down, sand it out, and he fills it with these beautiful different colours. Here's one we made earlier of epoxy, and this is going to be a cheese board. And you can see how the electricity has cut that path through the wood. And what I like about this illustration is that as we follow God in our lives, as he is a light of truth in our lives, his word guides us, his spirit lives in and through us. Each one of us is unique. And that truth is lived out in different ways as we live out who God made us to be in our different lives. And we can't predict quite how it's going to go And yet when we give our lives to God, when we trust in him, when we let his light and his love shine through us, he does something beautiful in our lives. God is light, and we live in his truth.
John chapter 1 verses 10 to 11. He was in the world, and though the world was made through him, the world did not recognize him. He came to that which was his own, but his own did not receive him.
Okay, for the next bit of your Christingle, you'll need to reach into your bag and find the red ribbon. But be careful when you pick it up because it's got a pin attached to it for fastening it to the orange. Now the ribbon is to remind us of Jesus' love spread around the world and the fact that he died for us. So what you need to do is wrap it around the middle of your orange like this, all the way around, and then use your pin, be careful not to drop it, and poke it in the back to stick the ribbon together. And that's it. That's the next part of your Christingle.
So, part 3 of the Christingle.
I've got my orange, my candle, and now I've got a ribbon around the middle.
My ribbon's all wonky. I tell you, Helen is very good at doing presents and ribbons and making them look nice.
Yeah, she is.
Talking of ribbons, we have literally just had Tim at our door delivering us a present and a thank you for doing an Ignite thing that we did. And look, he's good at ribbons. Well done, Tim.
He is good at ribbons.
Let's quickly open them.
Oh, I do like... Oh, I can't get my card out. I'm going to have to get through the ribbon. You deal with the ribbon first, I think. There we go. Nice. Got my ribbon, got my card. You all right there?
It's this ribbon. Seriously, ribbons, they might look nice, but I don't know, they're just so awkward sometimes to... I never actually use them just because I like to, get in
You just don't want to deal with a ribbon, do you?
Well, ribbons are just tricky, aren't they? How did you do yours?
I just undid it. I just went through it. But you know what?
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you, Tim. Do you know what? We've got our ribbon going all the way round the orange, which remember represents the world. But we just heard in the reading, he was in the world, that's Jesus, and though the world was made through him, the world did not recognise him. He came to that which was his own, but his own did not receive him. And that's what this ribbon is all about, really. It's about Jesus came to show the world his love. He came into it. But just like Richard didn't want to deal with that ribbon, often people just don't want to deal with Jesus. They don't want to know how he can change their lives. They don't want him to interfere, to mess up what they want to do. But yet it can be so easy to think they don't want to do that. We've just talked about Jesus being the light of the world. People want to keep living in darkness. And it can be easy to think, how can people want to do that? We look out there, we hear the stuff going on in the news, the way we're destroying creation, the way people are hurting each other, the horrible things that happen. And we think, how can people do that? I heard a great story the other day. It was about a guy who was, he had gone to preach. He's quite a well-known preacher, and he'd gone to preach in a church. And it was quite a small church, much smaller than the churches he was used to. And the service started, and the band started. And very quickly into the first song, he started thinking, oh, there is somebody who does not sound good singing in that band. This is painful. And he was trying to communicate with the person on sound to turn that person down. He was like, please turn them down. This is awful. But nothing changed. Anyway, they got through the worship session and it put him in a little bit of a bad mood. He was like, how can people be that bad? And he stood up and he did his talk, and he sat down again for their closing song. And that person in the band was singing really badly again. And he was just like, let this stop. Please, God, make this stop. Literally, just make it stop. And he looked down to realise that his lapel mic had been on for the whole thing. And he stopped singing, and the terrible voice in the song stopped as well. Because that awful voice had been his own voice as he'd been singing along. And he was so quickly to look out and think about how awful somebody out there sounded. But actually he had to look down and see that awfulness was himself. And none of us like to think that we're bad people, that we're awful. We always think, well, we're not as bad as them. But we're told that the darkness is in each of us. That actually when we don't seek God with all our hearts, when we don't live for him, we're letting that darkness live in us. And we all do that, which means we all have need of what this ribbon represents that goes around the world, because this ribbon represents Jesus' death, his love, his giving of himself, so that we could be shown that way, like we looked at in the last section, back to God. And it's so easy, even as Christians, to forget that we need to keep coming to God. We need his forgiveness. We need his love so badly, at the core, at the centre of everything. We need to remember that it's his love and his compassion and his goodness to us that makes seeking him and living for him possible, that helps us to bring that light, his light, into the world, that makes a difference. We need Jesus at the centre, and the world needs Jesus at the centre.
So the reading's taken from John 1, and it's verses 12 to 14, and this is the NIV version. Yet to all who did receive him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God. Children born not of natural descent, nor of human decision or a husband's will, but born of God. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son, who came from the Father, full of grace and truth.
The orange represents the world. The ribbon represents Jesus' blood. And the candle represents Jesus.
Can you show me?
We need some more on here. Uh-oh. This one fell off.
Yay, look at that. Well done.
You did it!
So thank you, Jeffries. Hopefully they're all looking like this or like that. Look at the difference. I put mine all in the same order. Little love hearts on top. You just
Bung them on.
any old way.
Oh, this is, I'm sure, many people's favourite part of the Christingle.
I'm hoping that you all managed to get them onto the cocktail sticks. You've not eaten them all already.
I'm pretty sure there's some out there.
You've eaten them.
Yes.
Empty cocktail sticks. But the cocktail sticks with the sweets on are to remind us of God's good gifts to us.
Gifts.
Gifts.
Have you got all your gifts yet? Have you got all your gifts yet for your children?
Most of them, a few little bits left to get, but I have done most of them. How about you guys?
Yeah, pretty much. I haven't wrapped any yet. When do you do your wrapping?
Well, I always think I'm going to get it done really early. Yeah, and I haven't done any of the wrapping
Christmas
yet.
Eve.
Christmas Eve, yeah.
Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve is the wrapping, and
You have to be quick on Christmas Eve.
We are really quick at wrapping presents now on Christmas Eve. In fact, we're super quick at it.
We're really, really quick at it.
I think I'm probably quicker than
When
you.
I say quick, I mean I'm like super speedy fast.
Let's see who's the quickest. 3, 2, 1, go!
Go!
You were quicker than me. I will give you that.
10 seconds quicker.
Roughly. Presentation, I think it's pretty much a draw. So I think that's...
A draw. Right.
Okay, thank you.
So we've talked about Jesus being that gift. We looked at that last week, that Jesus being that gift, God among us, God given into the world to live, to show us the way. But you know what? We're told in the Bible that all good gifts come from God above. And this is what these sweets remind us of. Not literally just the good things that we can appreciate in life, like the fact that we have homes and family and health and friends, those kind of things, which are good gifts. But actually, it can also be more than that. The fact that Jesus came and he died for us and he forgives us and he restores us to that relationship with God. He invites us to be part of his family. He calls us his brothers and sisters, means that we have so many more spiritual gifts in him, and that we have all the promises that he's given us. We have that whole gift of knowing that we are his child, loved by him. In fact, in the Bible that you guys have been reading through, it talks about knowing God's never-ending, never giving up, always and forever love that he gives us, and knowing what it means to live with that. And you know what? That is a gift that makes such a difference in life. In the verse that we've just read, it talks about us being part of God's family, but it also talks about Jesus being truth and grace. And I know that for myself, to have accepted that gift of Jesus in my life, to know that each day I can live with his grace and his truth in my life, his light showing me the way, him revealing himself in his creation around me to enjoy. I can live knowing that when I mess up, he's never going to say, last chance, sorry about that. He promises to forgive and to welcome me back and to help me grow in him and be the person that I should be, the person he created me to be. And that's a gift that just keeps on giving, really is a gift that keeps on giving, because every day is a gift from God. Every day is a chance to get to know him better, a chance to discover what my life is all about with him. And that's something that's made such a difference. So many gifts at Christmas we're really excited about them, and it's really exciting and cool, and then they get put away and we forget about them and we maybe don't go back to them again. And isn't that a challenge for us as Christians, not to treat God's gift like that, to be excited, to think it's really cool, but actually the day-to-day comes on and we forget about his goodness, we forget about his promises, we forget about the difference he wants to make in our lives and in the lives of those around us. But you know what? These cocktail sticks, we've talked about the gifts, but these cocktail sticks can represent two things. One, they can be the seasons, 4 seasons of the year, or they can be a compass. And I like either of those because it reminds me that in any season of my life, Jesus needs to be the central, most important thing. That in anything I'm facing, he has light that can overcome the darkness. He has the truth to show me through. He promises me everlasting life with him. Or it can remind me that wherever I am, that he is also. That I'm never alone, that he is with me throughout every step of my life, through the highlights, through the lows, that he is with me. And that is an incredible promise to live in, and it has made such a difference to my life. Knowing that relationship, that love from God, that I am his treasured possession, that he longs to pour his truth and his grace into me. And I said earlier, it's a gift that kept on giving. He promises to continue his work in us. And so I guess our challenge is that, just like that excitement of opening a gift, to ask God just to put that joy, that excitement in all that he has given us this Christmas, in the gift of himself, in the future we have in him, in the hope, in the light, in the life that he gives us. He takes our darkness, he brings us life. He takes our death, he gives us life. He takes our loneliness, our isolation, and gives us family. He takes our feeling we don't belong and calls us his children. He takes our emptiness and fills us with his gifts. That is what the real gift of Christmas is all about.
In the beginning, Lord, I was alone like the earth before your spirit moved over the waters. I was formless and empty, and darkness filled the depths of my heart. Then it was as if you declared, "Let there be light," and out of the darkness I began to see hope, like a shimmering ray of love breaking through the parting clouds at the conclusion of the night. In the beginning, Lord, I was alone, but when I saw you in the light, I was no longer afraid. You held out your hand, and though I had a choice, I had no choice, because to refuse was to embrace again the darkness. In the beginning, Lord, I was alone. Now I am again a part of your creation, loved, wanted, needed, family. In the light of your presence, I hold out my heart that others might glimpse through it your reflection, and be drawn from the darkness that I once embraced into the light of your sunrise, the brightness of your face.
Well, the Christingles are made.
The Christingles are ready to go, but what will happen now?
I don't know, what does happen now?
So what we're going to do now is you'll see a button appear on the chat screen. If you click on that, you'll be taken to Zoom, and we're going to finish the service together, lighting our Christingles on Zoom.
But for those who don't like going on Zoom, who find the whole big group chat thing uncomfortable, what about them?
Not to worry, because actually this isn't a group chat thing. We're asking you to come onto Zoom now on mute, and we're literally going to light our Christingles and finish the service in prayer. For those that want to stay on, there will be a chance for people to leave or people to stay on after that for a chat on Zoom. But the first bit is purely mute yourselves and come on quietly.
And it's just a great chance for us to do something all together, light our candles all together and be part of something together. And for those of you who are unable to access Zoom, thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you again on Christmas morning.
And just before we go, we do want to say thank you to all those who've given so much video contributions for today's service and making the Christingle possible.
Yeah, it's been great seeing you.
So see you on Zoom in a second.
Okay, bye.